So, Karen, so nice to meet you. So I feel so touched. You, you, kn- you know that with the mentors, we have a kind of parental relationship. So I feel, in a sense, so close to you, having
Oh,
having your father as an academic father, something like
that's
that.
wonderful.
So for me, it's very touching, and I thank you so much. This opportunity to know each other and to be able to listen to you about other dimensions of your father. You know that Matthew Lipman is a strong name in many countries around the world in the field of philosophy for children. So to hear the voice of someone who has been a child with the creator of philosophy for children, I think it's something very important. I wonder even necessary. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
No problem. Thank you.
And so may I ask you a couple of questions?
Sure.
So one has to do with the fact that your father was a philosopher dedicated to childhood, to children. So he created the Philosophy for Children program. So did you feel this in some way? Do you think that you, as a father, this influenced the way he was a father with you? How do you say that? Is there any senses in which you recognize that your father was a philosopher?
Yes, I do, because what I remember, and a lot of what I remember of my father was just fun. He was a fun dad. We had fun together. Um, he did, he was concerned with what we thought about things and the way that we thought about things. I can't give you an exact experience where he he asked us, but it was just the way that he treated us. He would always ask questions. He would want to know how we felt about things. Instead of being a parent, maybe that would tell you, no, you're doing the wrong thing, or um, you made a mistake, or whatever. My father would always ask, how do you feel about what happened, or how do you feel about what you did? It was more of questions than to make us realize and to make us think about what we did, instead of telling us, oh no, go to your room or whatever. He would ask, he would more ask questions about, how do you think about this? How do you feel about this? And I think that's where the philosopher came through. Um, and he was always thinking about things, and studying and reading. And I think that is more what I remember about my father more than anything. Um, and I think the way I am today, the way I think about things and the way I question things, the way I question people, how I feel about life, comes from him. Um, I don't make quick judgments about people. I'm more open minded and open to ideas and concepts and things. And I think that comes from him, more than anyone. Um, people tell me I'm different, and I think that comes from him. I've never met anyone like you. You're so different, and I don't know where that comes from, and I don't know what they mean, but I think it comes from my father and just his concepts of life, and being open to people and open to thinking of new things and new ways to do things and just life in general. He was just happy with life and living life. And I think all of that is in me somewhere. I can't think of one special time. I wish I could, where I can tell you a conversation that we had where we could sit down and he told me something spectacular, but it was more in just the way he was. He was just a kind and loving person. He was a friendly person. He was someone that if you had a problem, you could always come to him and he would help you. Um, he was just that kind of person. And that's why I love my dad so much, I think, because he was always there for me. Um, he was always there for other people or people in need. Um, I wish I could tell you what made him a philosopher, but I think it was just his general outlook on life that made him that way.
You tell
And
that.
where that came from? Hmm?
Sorry,
No,
sorry.
I'm
Go
saying where that came from, I don't know.
ahead. But you told us a lot about him as a philosopher, because for many people, philosophy is precisely a way of life or a way of relating to other people. So
Hmm.
so you gave us a strong philosophical answer of how
Okay.
philosophy was, and also in a personal way, I share all these comments about the attention, the friendly way. Also, as my mentor, I think that also I could say that more than the content or theories, I learned from him exactly what you said, a way to relate to thinking, to people, to actions, a way of making a question instead of making a moral judgment. So it's very meaningful
Hmm.
what you say. It
Okay.
speaks about philosophy. And you know that philosophy for children puts together philosophy and childhood. And you say how your father, how Matthew Lipman had a philosophical life. I wonder if he also had a childlike life. I mean, if he also, as an adult, he also kept alive his child, and he kind of, this I learned from a girl once in a school in Italy. She told me that philosophy was invented by a woman that didn't want to forget that she was a child, that she was a girl. And this is a wonderful definition of philosophy. So I wonder how your father kept his child alive, how he was still a child even as a father. Can you tell something about this?
He was. Um, that's why I say my dad was a fun dad because everything we did together was fun. It was kind of like playing with a third friend. He was always that way. When we had snowball fights or we had to make snow angels, my dad was always the one that we did it with. My mom was always busy. She was always either cooking or working. My dad was the person that we played with and had fun with. Not to say my mom wasn't, but he was the one that would tell us the stories, make up the stories, make up the tell us a bedtime story at night. I think he was always, to a certain extent, the person that he had always been his whole life. I don't think he ever changed. I don't think he ever grew up. I think he was always the same as he was when he was little because he just came across that way. I'm sure if you talk to friends of his or colleagues, they'll tell you that he told them a funny story or he related something funny um, about something that happened to him in life. Um, that's just the way he was. Um, I think he was just a child at heart. That's just the kind of person he was.
So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that makes all sorts of sense, because it could be very difficult to bring philosophy for children without keeping your childhood inside, or living as a child. And
Yes.
Karen, what would you like to say? This video will be listened from people everywhere in the world, in Asia, in Africa, in Europe, in South America, in Latin America, everywhere. What would you like to say to all these people that are celebrating together the 100 years of your father?
I just like to say thank you. Thank you for um, thinking of my father, remembering my father, appreciating my father for the things that he did. I've run across, I believe on Facebook. I was on Facebook maybe 10 years ago for a little while, and I did run across a couple of his students, and I felt really bad because they were asking me questions that I really couldn't answer about my father's studies, but it really impressed me, and it really impressed on me the effect that my dad had on other people. I don't see that in my day-to-day life. I realize that I'm very impressed with everything that my father did, but to run across students and other people that have worked with him, it always impresses me because I'm like, wow, my dad really affected so many people. So I just want to thank them for appreciating everything that he did, everything that he worked for and struggled for, and the work that he put out. And just for him himself, people that have met him, like yourself, that really appreciate him. I just want to thank you because I don't get to see that, I think, on a regular basis.
So thank you, Karen, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
In your name, thank you, your father. Thank you for being part of this wonderful idea that changed the life of so many people around the world. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
and hope we celebrate 100 years again soon.
We will.
Thanks, Walter.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear
Thanks
mom.
again, Karen, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you. Okay.
All right,
Thanks
take
a
good
lot.
care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.